Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. All right, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast. My guest today is Daisey James. Daisey's in Bellingham. She's a disc golfer. She's a graphics designer. I stumbled across her because I'm doing this other side project, and I found the Whatcom County disc golf group. Club is the official word. And she is the current president of it. So I reached out to her. She responded back. I know nothing about disc golf. Well, that's not true. I know a little bit now. But when I first talked to her, I knew nothing about it, and she was kind enough to talk to me. And now she's going to be here today, and we're going to talk Bellingham, and we're going to talk disc golf. So, Daisey, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Let's set the table. What brought you to Bellingham?
Originally, school. I just kind of picked it on a map and came to Western after doing a couple years at a school in New Hampshire. I knew I wanted to come back to the West Coast, and I kind of picked Western on a whim, honestly. That's
cool. So, look, obviously it worked. You stayed. I stayed. You stayed. So you're now local, and I was just up in Bellingham this last weekend. I hadn't been to Bellingham since before COVID, and I had a great time, which I'm sure we'll get bits and pieces of that will come out in this conversation, because you're probably going to mention places that I actually went to. How did you get started in disc golf?
I picked it up as a COVID sport, and when the world shut down and there weren't really other athletic opportunities, I took to running a lot more than I used to run. I've never been a big runner, but I ran a lot. I biked a lot, mountain biked, road biked, and came to find disc golf because it was a really good outdoor activity that you could still do and see your friends while socially distanced.
And who introduced you to it? Did you stumble across a disc golf course and go, hey, what's this? Or
I had some friends that kind of carried over from ultimate frisbee, and they made that jump make sense of they had all played ultimate. So they were like, let's try this other sport that involves different types of frisbees.
Okay. Where was the first course you ever played? Where'd they take you out to?
Cornwall Park. Okay.
I walked around there a little bit this weekend. It's really kind of a cool park, given it's like in town. It didn't feel like it was in town. I was walking on one of the trails, and all of a sudden I realized I'm at somebody's back fence, and it's like, this doesn't feel like there shouldn't be houses here, is what it felt like to me. Okay.
Yeah, it's very unique. It's a very unique urban forest. I actually just met with the city of Bellingham Parks yesterday about Cornwall Park and getting some protection for trees and stuff like that to protect that forest, because it is very unique.
Yeah. So you went out. Were you did you get the bug instantly, or did you have to ease your way into disc golf?
I wouldn't say I got the bug instantly. I didn't think I was very good at all, and was mostly frustrated at the beginning playing with people that had played frisbee for so long, and I do not have a background in frisbee. And I'm a pretty competitive person, so I did not love not being very good at it. But after some time, I realized that I was okay at it and I could get better.
All right. And so this was, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, basically, because COVID seems like it was yesterday, and yet so long ago whenever I think back to COVID. Now that you compete in tournaments and all that, which I think we're going to talk about. I know we're going to talk about it, but you indicated you're competitive. Okay, but how long was it before you went in your first official tournament?
It was August 2021. Okay. I mean, there were obviously nothing happened in 2020. Mm-hmm. And even kind of the beginning of 2021, I don't think there was a ton of stuff happening. So it took August 2021 was my first event.
And how'd you do? How did you do in the tournament?
Sorry, what was that?
How did you do in the tournament?
I think I took second.
Okay. All right.
In a field of, I think there were 4 or 5 of us in the division that I was playing at that time.
Okay. All right. You're a co-owner in this store called Far From Par, which is a disc golf pro shop in Bellingham. And I went there on Saturday. And when you and I talked on the phone, you said something to me. It's not that I didn't believe you. It was an unbelievable statement. Let's put it that way. You said, "Yeah, we have about 4,000 discs in the store." And I was just like going, no way. How do you do that? And then I walked into your store and I went, oh, wow. There's a lot of discs here. And the store was pretty busy. And I was there pretty early on Saturday, a little after 11 o'clock or so. So like right when you guys opened. And people came in and they were buying discs, and a kid came in because he lost a disc, and you guys, we operate this disc, service for lost discs, which I think I'd like to address that in a little bit. But I was like really impressed with the store, but I'm lost. And so I'd like you to help me understand basic differences in disc golf discs. Like you just don't take one disc out there and throw it around a course. You're using discs that are designed for specific functions.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can just take one disc out there. There's plenty of people that do, and especially starting out, that's what makes disc golf such an accessible sport. You can start out as simple as one disc, or you can get a set or get more. They're kind of like your set of golf clubs, so they have different purposes. They're intended to fly further, faster, different directions. So unlike golf clubs that you angle the face to make it go a different direction, disc golf discs have actual intended flight paths. Like one disc will want, if you're throwing right hand, backhand, one disc will want to go left really hard, really fast. Some discs can be the exact opposite, where they're going to want to have the opposite flight path.
Okay.
And it all has to do with the rim diameter, depth, profile. There's a whole bunch of factors of how the discs are designed, but they have different intended flight paths.
So I want you to play along with me. I'm walking into your store right now. You at the time we're recording this, you're not open, but you are for this little story I'm going to tell. And I want to get started in disc golf. How are you going to advise me on this? What would you say, Scott, you need to do if you want to go out and give this sport a try? What would you say? How does one dip their toe in the sport?
Well, my first question would be, have you ever played before at all? I have a lot of people that come in that have been taken out once, maybe twice by a friend and have a concept but don't really know where to go. So I'd ask that first. And if it's like brand new, absolute first time, give them a basic rundown of, it's just like ball golf in terms of scoring, getting to the hole to finish the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then recommend a starter set. It's the most cost effective. So kind of see what the budget is that they're looking to spend. And if they don't want to do a starter set, if they want just one disc or 2 discs, give them some options of really easy to throw mid-ranges and maybe an easy to throw fairway driver. Usually I recommend things that have higher glide, are going to be more neutral. So the disc isn't going to want to have its own very drastic flight path. It's going to be more contingent on the angle, the release of the disc. And then a nice, easy to throw fairway driver.
Okay.
It's usually.
So let's say I told you I wanted a starter kit. What would you say at that point? And by the way, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never played disc golf. Starter kit. Those are my parameters.
Perfect. We usually have 2 to 3 starter kit options in stock. So they're all between $30 and $35 for 3 discs. One set gets you 4 discs, but I don't recommend that one specifically for beginners because they're not as easy to throw discs. Really good bang for your buck, but not as easy to throw. So I always warn people away from that one if they're actual first-time throwers.
Okay.
So we always have a set from a manufacturer called Trash Panda. They're definitely the most popular set that we sell because they are 100% recycled discs. They're
Okay.
made in Colorado, which is pretty cool. That usually wins people over, especially in Bellingham, because it's fun and eco-friendly.
Right.
So that's definitely the most popular set, and it's the best price by far. So it gets you a easy to throw fairway driver, a nice neutral mid range, and a easy to throw putter.
Okay.
So you get all that for $38 after tax.
And that's the kit that I walked out with. So in an effort to help spread the word, I'm going to give that kit away to somebody. So how should we do that? Got any ideas? I'm putting you on the spot. And folks, if you could see your eyes right now, they kind of like, what? Why are you doing this to me? I want to give this Trash Panda starter kit away. I'll just do it. I'll just make the command decision. There'll be a link in the show notes for 7 days after this episode goes live. And I have to cheat and look at when this episode's going to go live. Hang on one moment, please. This episode's going to go live August 6th in 2025. So you have until August 13th to click the link, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll pick one random winner. And on behalf of Far From Park Disc Golf, you guys get set to start. There you go. Easy. Now, that leaves me with the other kit that's harder to throw, which is going to frustrate me. And I'm going to go out and learn how to throw those discs, and I'll come back and report to you. But yeah,
lean on the mid range. Throw the mid range more than the drivers in that set.
Okay, cool. So you've got a driver, you've got a mid range, you've got a putter. Walk me as a beginner through, like, how long is it? And I know this is an impossible question to ask. I understand that, but like Cornwall, let's go to that. Hole number 1. How long is that hole approximately?
About 200 feet.
About 200 feet. So walk me through. What would I do? I have those 3 discs. So how would you advise me? You're going to be my caddy and my coach simultaneously. Don't know what I'm doing. We have a lot of fun with this. Scott, throw it at the trees. But no, which disc would you recommend I take and I throw?
For your very first hole,
Yep.
I would tell you to throw all 3 of them so you can see what they do differently.
Okay.
But I would start with the fairway driver and then the mid range and then the putter so you can see the different flights of each one.
So you're saying stand on the tee box and throw all 3?
Yep.
And just see what happens. All right.
At separate times, of course, not all 3 at the same time.
Oh, come on. No. All right. So what do you expect I would, assuming that I threw them acceptably, what would I notice when I'm done? I've thrown 3 discs out and they're down the hole a little ways. What am I going to notice?
If you throw them reasonably well, hopefully you'll notice that the fairway driver is going to go a little bit farther and it's going to want to go a little bit more to the right from where you start from. The mid-range is going to go a little bit less distance, should be a little bit straighter. And the putter in that set also is going to be pretty straight, but it's not going to go as far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they should be kind of staggered by distance.
Staggered by distance. Okay. So now what would you throw for that same hole? You obviously know what you're doing. What are you going to reach into your bag? What are you going to throw on that hole?
I usually throw a 4-speed, which is kind of right on the cusp of being a mid-range. It's a approach mid-range, kind of in that range.
Okay.
So I usually throw that. A slightly understable, I throw a disc called a peach on that hole.
Okay. You said something that makes no sense to me. You said 4-speed. I'm thinking a transmission in my car.
Yeah.
What I was overhearing when I was in the shop was they were talking about speed and the ratings on these things. So can you break that down for me, what that means and what I should look for?
Yeah. So basically back in like 2006 or 2007, somewhere around there, one of the major manufacturers had kind of developed a flight numbering system that gives you a concept of what a disc's intended flight is supposed to be.
Okay.
And that involves 4 numbers that in order of how you see them listed on a disc is speed, glide, turn, and fade. Speed ranges from 1 to, at this point, there are a couple 14 and a half speed discs, but that ranges from 1 to 14.
Okay.
Glide ranges from a 1 to a 7. Turn ranges from a -5 to a +1. And fade ranges from a 0 to a 5. And so going through those in order, speed basically speaks to the aerodynamics of the disc, how far it will travel and can travel, but with a more nuanced piece of that, getting the full flight out of a disc, you have to have an arm speed that correlates to the speed of that disc. So it's actually harder to throw a 14 speed and get full flight out of it than it is like a 7-speed disc, because it's easy. The slower the disc correlates to the arm speed. So professionals, for instance, roughly throw with like a 70-mile-an-hour arm speed, and they are getting full flight out of a 13, 14 speed disc. Whereas someone like me does not throw with that arm speed. My arm speed is around 50, 52. I do not get full flight. I do not throw discs that fast because they do not suit my skill set. So that's speed. The glide is 1 to 7, and that just speaks to how much a disc wants to stay in the air. Some discs, usually putters, are going to be much lower glide, which makes them not want to fly as far. 7, they want to stay in the air. They want to float longer, but it also makes them a little bit more susceptible to being impacted by the wind. So that's always a little bit of a factor with glide. But starting out, the higher the glide, the easier to throw is what I will always tell people.
Okay.
Turn and fade are where we get into the more complicated pieces. Turn speaks to the high speed turn. So when the disc is spinning the fastest, that is how much the disc wants to go left or right. So -5 is if we are throwing as right-handed people, throwing backhand the way you would normally throw a frisbee. -5 is how much the disc wants to go to the right before it starts to fade as it slows down, which is that fourth number of how hard it wants to come back to the left. So -5, it wants to go as far to the right as it possibly can. When you release it flat, it's going to want to go to the right and then come back. A +1 is that disc immediately wants to start going left. So that's kind of speaks to the stability of a disc. And then that fade comes into that because as the disc slows down, that fade number is how hard it and how aggressively, I suppose, it wants to finish to the left. So 0 is it's just going to slow down, kind of level out naturally, come down gently. And a 5 is that thing wants to start diving left and like really coming down.
Now, are those numbers impacted by the speed with which the disc is thrown?
A little bit. Yes, a bit. The level of stability changes based on the speed of the disc. So like I said, like a 7 speed is going to be easier to throw than a 14 speed. And so the stability of that disc is going to be impacted a bit based on, like, if you have an arm speed that should be throwing a 7 speed, but you throw a 14 speed, you're going to see a much more over-exaggerated flight of something that might have the same turn and fade. So you could throw a disc that is like a 7.503. And then if you throw a disc that's a 14.503, you're going to see a much more aggressive right to left fade from the 14 speed than you will the 7 speed.
What happens? So you said you throw about 50 miles an hour. So you throw about a 7.
I throw up to an 11.
Okay. But let's just say, kind of for the sake of this, your sweet spot is a 7, I don't throw that fast. I don't have the arm speed that you do because I'm old and out of shape and all that stuff. If you, I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you underthrow a disc as well? Like, let's just say, making up these numbers, you throw a 7. Maybe you say, Scott, you should throw a 5. Okay, I'm just, okay. But if I don't give it enough arm, does that impact the other numbers as well? Am I making any sense? Like,
a little bit. It all connects. But again, that's the slower disc is easier to throw with less arm speed, basically.
All right.
And then there's a whole other side of, you can get into weight class because the weight of the disc also varies. So you can get a much lighter weight disc, and that's going to be easier to throw, but that gets much more complicated.
Now, if I take this to regular, original, ball golf, if you will, there's limitations to what clubs can have. I mean, you can't have a a driver with a head that's the size of a coffee can. You've got there's parameters in the sport. When you compete, are there parameters with these discs can size and weight? Are there things like that impact, or is it kind of a free for all?
There are a lot of restrictions. All discs that you're using for competition have to be actually approved by the PDGA. So the molds that are used are approved and vetted, and you can go to the PDGA website and see a list of all of the discs that have ever been approved.
Okay.
The Discraft Ultrastar, the classic frisbee, is an approved disc. It's one of the originals back before they refined disc golf technology. But there's restrictions around those. They can't be modified to past a certain extent. Like, obviously discs become modified when you hit trees, you throw them into things, they start to get different shapes. Depending on the plastic, they'll get kind of little nicks, notches out of them. That is all normal wear and tear, but you can't have a disc that you have painted or sanded or put stickers on. Anything that modifies the disc beyond a certain point is not an approved disc anymore. Okay. And then there's also an approved weight. I'm not positive if there's a minimum weight. I think it's around 140 at least for the approved discs that exist. I think the lowest weight class is around 140 grams. And they can be up to technically 200 grams, but you don't see discs that heavy. The most discs, like mid-ranges, are usually the heaviest, and they will max out around 180 grams.
All right. So when you started, a friend of yours took you out to the course, handed you a disc or two, whatever. And you started, you said earlier you didn't get bitten by the bug right away because you're competitive and you didn't think that you were good yet. But when you got bit by the bug, like a lot of sports, people, we go out and we just buy gear. I mean, I'm sure we all have friends that have, you look at, whatever the sport might be, they've got just so many things and you're like, do you really need those things? But do you remember what was the first disc that you bought?
Oh man. I was definitely handed and given discs to start. And so I think the first disc that I went and bought myself, there was a game store in Bellingham that had a small selection of discs. And I went in and just started picking random things off the shelf. And I think I picked up 3 discs that day. And one of them was a spear from Gateway Discs that, knowing now what I know, was not a terrible disc to start with. It wasn't great. I couldn't throw it at all, but it wasn't objectively a terrible disc to start with. And then I think I got a Thunderbird from Innova, which became a staple in my bag. It was actually one of my favorite discs for a long time. And I think I picked up maybe a putter. Okay. But I don't remember what putter.
All right. Now I want you to think back. When was the last time you were on a disc golf course?
Sunday.
How many?
Nope. Well, technically I was at Cornwall on Monday, but I wasn't actually playing. I was just meeting with the city.
Okay. So Sunday. How many discs did you have with you on Sunday?
Man, I should have prepared for this one.
No, it's kind of half the fun of this is putting you on the spot in good-natured ways.
I think I had 17. I had 2 extras because I was trying out some different discs that I hadn't thrown yet.
Okay.
Because the course I was playing was pretty big and open, so I was trying some different discs. Okay. I think I had 17 in my bag.
You had 17. And how many did you use that day?
14.
Okay, so you used a lot. You okay. And if you go out just for a round of fun, do you take 17 with you all the time? It's probably easy because it's not like they're heavy.
Yeah, it depends on the course. I have a much more compact travel bag that fits 9 discs.
Okay.
So I'll, if I'm just going to play Cornwall Park, I'll just grab that bag instead of my full bag. So it depends. Sometimes just for fun, I'll just do at Cornwall, for instance, I'll just bring 3 discs specifically to make that more of a challenge of throw the different disc, make it a little bit harder.
Okay. All right. So you can kind of handicap yourself with your choices, if you will.
A little bit, yeah.
Take a course that you're very familiar with and you know very well, and go, well, I'll make it a little more challenging today by throwing this instead of my go-tos. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. From what I can gather, it seems like the disc golf community is pretty vibrant in pockets. For example, Bellingham, Whatcom County, seems like there's a large number of courses between, let's say, from Bellingham to Blaine and into Canada.
Yeah.
What I'm noticing is there seems to be a lot of courses down south near Vancouver, down the other end of the state. And the Olympia area has some. But then there seems to be, like in Wenatchee, we've got 2 courses, and I drove by one of them today. And honestly, I mean, it looks like the baskets are like 10 feet apart from each other. I mean, it's just in the middle of a little city park, and there doesn't appear to be any challenge to it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, okay. But there's not a lot. I'm not aware of as many golf courses, disc golf courses, here in central Washington. Now there's more in Spokane, and there appears to be some down in Tri-Cities, but it's not like ball golf where it seems like every small town in Washington state has their own, golf course.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. There's definitely not as many courses in the smaller communities once you get east of the Cascades, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of small courses pretty much up and down the I-5 corridor.
Yeah.
And then there's some in the mountains. Like there's one at Stevens Pass that's only open in the summer, obviously. There's one in Clay Ellum, I think.
Ellum. Cle
There's one there. There's one at Snoqualmie Pass. There's a couple like kind of seasonal courses out that direction.
Okay.
But yeah, looking at the map of courses, there's definitely there looks to be a good number of like small 9-hole community courses in some of the smaller areas. Like it looks like there's a 9-hole course out in Grand Coulee, so they have something out there.
Oh, interesting.
But definitely not as many like full scale 18-hole courses. Looks like there's 2 in Moses Lake and a bunch in Spokane and Tri-Cities, but
right. No, it's interesting. So, but it seems like the people that participate in the sport seem pretty friendly, pretty welcoming, open. When and I talked on the phone, you mentioned, and I'm going to paraphrase for you, but I think there was, anytime a sport has rapid growth, there's always this like, well, we were here first and you're new, and kind of, yeah. And disc golf grew rapidly during COVID, right? Because there was lots of people like you who, Do you think that the old established players are welcoming the influx of new people to the sport? Is it making it more vibrant, or do you think they're like being gatekeepers?
I think disc golf is a very welcoming community overall. I think there's a little bit of people that sometimes get frustrated when a course that used to get almost no activity, so it kind of felt like their private course, gets too busy.
Right.
Then that can be a bit of a bummer if you want to just go play a quick round, but there's a lot of people there when you're used to there not being a lot of people. But for the most part, disc golf is it's a welcoming community. I mean, so many people when you're new will just hand you a disc and give you something.
Well, and that's really cool. I think that's really cool. And not to diminish the fact that they're being generous. The discs aren't that expensive. Where if you were on you were a regular golf course, no one's going to very few people are probably going to go, here, have my driver, because they've spent hundreds.
Yeah, well, I mean,
hundreds.
Also, obviously, golf clubs are actually fitted to a certain extent, depending on your skill level, and then flex and all of that. There's a lot more.
Right.
It's harder to just hand someone that because it might be different.
Right.
And obviously, discs are, of course, ambidextrous. There are no left-handed discs. You don't have to get a set of different things being left-handed or right-handed. Okay. So it's easy to just kind
So
of share.
I am left-handed. So everything you're saying, so if it breaks to the right for you, it's going to break to the left for me. So I just have to invert these numbers. Okay. But it's not like when I was younger and I wanted to golf back in the day, it was really hard to find left-handed golf clubs. I mean, it was just, you couldn't go to the local sports store and buy left-handed golf clubs. They just, we'll special order them for you, but they just didn't have. Or if I went to a golf course and I wanted to go to the driving range, I didn't bring any clubs. Here's a left-handed club. And it was like from the 1950s. And it was just, and I can't do anything right-handed. So it was like, there was just no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
for disc golf, it's nice. You just, obviously the more common way is to use that right hand backhand as an example. So when you can look up like flight charts online, it'll usually default to right hand backhand, but then you can flip that. So basically you would just mirror it for left hand backhand.
Right.
And then you can throw sidearm, forehand, whatever you want to call it, more like a classic throw. And that, if for a right-handed person, mirrors the flight of a left-handed backhand throw.
As you have become more immersed in the sport, you're co-owner of a shop. I mean, you've got a retail space.
Yeah.
You're all in. I mean, you've pushed all the discs into the center of the table, if you will. You're like, I'm into this thing. But you're also the president of the Whatcom Disc Golf Club. Tell me a little bit about that. What's that organization? What's its purpose? What's its striving to accomplish?
Yeah, the Whatcom Disc Golf Club is a group that has grown pretty massively since COVID also, of passionate disc golfers that want to grow the sport in Whatcom County, to develop more courses and maintain the courses that we already have. We have a pretty unique property out in Sudden Valley that we have access to, that we, as the club, maintain, we ensure so that people can access it through a club membership. And then we have the course that we put in on private property, but is open, free to the public access at Bellis Fairways, right behind the Bellis Fair Mall. There's a course that is city built, that's on Lake Padden Golf Course, that is a pay to play, that has restricted hours during the summer, but that's kind of outside of the club realm. But then we have Cornwall Park, we have Blaine Disc Golf Course up right next to the border, and then we have Ferndale, that is also a 9-hole course with alternate tee pads. So we maintain most of those as much as we can. Some of that is kind of hand in hand with the cities of those respective courses. And we're always working to develop more courses and just support more disc golf in the community.
Let's talk about the Bellis Fair course, because I actually went there and I walked up to it, and for hole number 1, and I promptly tripped on a root and fell on my face. It was pretty comical, actually. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure the sport is going to be for me if I'm going to fall down while walking. But what I noticed, and this is coming from my background and I'm in real estate, that parcel of land appears to be for sale. Yeah. Okay.
That land it was a series of camps for a while, kind of got cleared out, and it was just sitting. It has always been slotted for development, but COVID hit, that property didn't get developed, and it was just kind of deteriorating. And so the past club president kind of had this idea to find the property owners and try to reach out and contact them and see if we could put in a course there. And they were game, because the disc golf club and the community went and cleaned that property ourselves.
Oh, wow.
To develop that course. So we cleaned thousands of pounds of garbage, a lot of other not great stuff to clean up. And we put that course in, and now that is a area that people in the neighborhood, not that area feels much like a neighborhood, but there's a lot of housing there. People can actually kind of walk through that area as a cutoff to get to the mall and back. It's definitely safer and cleaner than it was before. And we have that land for as long as we do until they start to develop it, basically.
I didn't think I'd ask this technical of a question. This is the legalities of it, though. If I were the owner of the property, I would be apprehensive if somebody were to trip and fall and sue me for being on, for not maintaining the property. Have you arranged insurance for people that go out there?
We do. Yeah,
Okay.
That is another property
awesome.
that the club maintains insurance for. So we have
That's
we have a
awesome.
land use agreement with the owners, and then we maintain insurance as the club.
That is so cool. I mean, coming from the real estate space, this is a parcel of land that probably isn't going to sell anytime soon, just because development's kind of sluggish right now, and it's sitting there, and when you have camps, it gets very expensive, very complicated. There's all sorts of baggage that comes along with that, right? And your club is giving that ownership group I think it's a lot of value. I mean, to both. To hear the public has a place to go play disc golf, public can walk through the course. It's like I was impressed with how clean it was. And
and it's great because obviously Cornwall Park is only a 9-hole course, and it gets very busy, and it's a mixed use park.
Mm-hmm.
And so having an actual public access 18-hole course in Bellingham has been huge. The plate counts it's crazy how many people go play that course.
And that's awesome. So about how many members does the Whatcom Disc Club have?
Right now, for annual members that renew their annual dues, we are sitting at 364.
Wow. Okay.
And we do a kind of member numbering system. So when you become a member, you get a member number that sticks with you forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the time of people that have come through the club, and a lot of that is people, the course that I mentioned out in Sudden Valley that's on private property is a main reason that a lot of people become club members.
Okay.
Because it's behind a locked gate. You have to be a member to be on that property because of the insurance and the land use contract there. So we have a lot of members that came through kind of before the club launched a separate membership that we call a nomad membership that is specifically for people that are visiting the course and they're only going to play it once or twice. So the numbers are a little bit high based on that because we have there's a good section of people that have never renewed because they came to Bellingham for one weekend and became a member.
Got it.
But we have total member numbers that have ever been assigned. We have 1,382 members that have come kind of through the club. But then on top of that, since we launched that Nomad membership, we launched that in, actually I have it right here. July 2023, we launched this kind of like traveling short-term membership option.
Mm-hmm.
And since we launched that, we have registered 325 nomad members. So that's people that just come through for the weekend or visit a couple times a year and want to access that course. So we have that too.
So I'm on the membership page right now, and complete membership is $40 to join. Mm-hmm. And then it's a $30 renewal.
Yep.
I was talking to somebody the other day. They were thinking about joining a private golf club. The starter fee for the private golf club was $100,000.
It's crazy.
I'm like, this is insanely inexpensive.
Yeah.
And
that said, you have access to so many courses. I mean, The main thing for membership is it obviously supports the club and what we do as the club. And here, the biggest thing is that it gets you access to Mossy Rock, which is that course in Sudden Valley that is very unique. It's on an old campground, so there's a lot of elevation. It's a very unique old wooded course that people love, and it's worth becoming a member and supporting the club for that reason alone for most people. But on top of that, it gets you a $5 discount on a PDGA membership, which is the national international professional disc golf association. Usually that's enough to
seal the deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Putting you on the spot. This is that question where if you ask a parent, which one of your kids is your favorite? It's an impossible question. Well, it might be in the moment. Little Timmy just threw up all over you. He's no longer my favorite because I didn't have to clean up. But anyway, of your golf courses, which is your favorite?
My favorite is Lake Patton.
Why?
Well, around here, actually.
No. Yeah, of your courses, what comes disc golf
Okay.
clubs? What of these courses, the specific set? And I know my camera's frozen, so you can't see me on my kayak moving my hands around. Sorry.
Yeah.
So why Lake Patton? What is it about that course that you like?
I like that it's a really good blend of utilizing some woods, but having open fairways that incorporate out of bounds and hazards. So it incorporates more of those traditional golf elements. So you have to be a little bit more strategic.
All right.
And you get some big open holes where you just get to throw as hard as you can and not have to worry about hitting trees.
Okay. Now I'm going to open it up. The requirement is Washington State courses only, because this is the Exploring Washington State podcast. What's your favorite course in Washington State?
Roche Harbor on San Juan Island.
Ooh, okay. Besides being on the San Juans, which is absolutely fabulous, what about that course? Why do you like that course?
I love going out to the islands, so it makes it even better. Mm-hmm. But it is one of the best maintained courses I have played to date, and it has so much shot variety. They have built it out so that there's actually 3 separate baskets for each hole. Oh. So you can play a red being the most beginner, intermediate friendly, a blue layout that's going to be a little bit more intermediate advanced, and then a gold layout, which is like advanced professional level.
Okay.
And so there's just so much variety in it that you can go and play different layouts without it being a fully different course. So you can basically go play 3 courses effectively all in the same day. And it's beautifully maintained. It's peaceful. Because it's out on the island, it's never terribly busy. Mm-hmm. So it's great. All right. It's a top destination for me.
Is there a course in Washington that you haven't played that it's on the list? Like you go, I want to go here?
There are quite a few. I don't make it all the way down south a ton. I've played a good chunk of courses, but I still have not been to Evergreen State College. That's one that a lot of my friends recommend to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually finally be going to the course in North Bend, South Fork Landing. That one people recommend to me all the time, and I just haven't made it out there. Okay. And then the other one that is on the list that I'm probably going to hit when I make a trip down in a couple of weeks is Gaffney's Grove. I hear a lot about that one. It's kind of
where's that?
From what I'm told, it's out in Maple Valley.
Okay. All right.
But then there's some other courses around the state too that I still haven't played and want to, like Stevens Pass, the summer only course. I want to go there, but haven't had a chance.
I think they should have that open year round.
Course, then I'll want to go play it.
Yeah, but I think they should have that one open year round. The snow would make it a little more challenging. I mean,
you might bury the baskets though.
Well, maybe, but you make sure you have brightly colored discs so you can find them in the snow. I mean, I just. Kind of let's make it a little more challenging for people.
Yeah, I mean, you can play in the snow. I've played in the snow.
You do. All right. So Western Washington, I lived there almost all of my life. I think it is gray and rainy and dreary 11 and a half months of the year. I know I'm wrong. It was really beautiful in Bellingham this last weekend.
Yeah, it's lovely in the summer.
How many months of the year do you golf in Whatcom County?
All 12.
You do. You golf all 12. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you find that what's in your bag changes with the seasons?
Not in terms of discs, but I certainly have to pack a lot more towels in the winter.
Okay. All right. This is an embarrassing question for you. I love asking these type of embarrassing questions. No, this is kind of fun. It'll be fun. How many discs do you think you've lost?
Less than 15.
Really? Okay. You're not trying hard enough.
There's one sacrificial one recently that I intentionally threw into blackberries because I was just not really having it with that disc anymore. It was not doing what I wanted it to do. So I was just like, well, throw a really bad shot and I can't get it back. So it was a good way to say goodbye.
Okay.
The rest have all been lost to water.
Okay. Water.
So ones you can't recover.
Now, Far From Par has a lost disc service. And on Saturday when I was there, this teenage kid comes in. He goes, "Hey, I lost my, I can't remember what he said. And it was there, And so how did you guys get the idea to help people do this? Because I think it's awesome. So if I'm out disc golfing and I find somebody's disc, and if it's marked with their name on it and a phone number, right, I can take it to your store and you guys will reach out to that person and hold the disc for a period of time, and they can come into the store and pick up their disc, right?
Yep.
It's brilliant. It's a great service.
Yeah, so the club initially a couple of years ago, we partnered with a brewery that's actually right around the corner from us, not too far, Menace Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of gave us a public space to have a lost and found shelf. It wasn't really monitored in any way. And so it gave us a space, but then a lot of people kind of would get a text that a disc had been left there, and then they'd go to get it 2 days later and that disc would be gone because people would see them and just kind of think that they were it was kind of like a little free library of discs.
Right.
So that was a great option while we used that. And then when we opened here, it made sense for us to kind of shift that over so that it was a safe space so that people's discs were not just walking off. And originally it was much smaller, and I would just have it out in the open where people could actually just go and look for their own disc. And then it got to be a little taking up a bit too much space. And I wanted to be sure people were actually getting their discs back and not just grabbing something that they wanted. And so now I have every disc that comes in through the Lost and Found gets fully inventoried, a picture gets taken, and then we send texts. And we have a actual spreadsheet that you can find on our website that has a public facing side of the lost disc inventory. So if you lose a disc that you don't actually put your name or number on, but you can identify it by the picture or mold type, color, etc., all of that information has a public facing site, so you can actually go and browse if your disc has been returned yet.
And how long do you hold the discs for?
If it has a name or number, we hold them for 2 months. Okay. If it does not have any information, I hold them for 1 month.
Okay. And what do you do with them after that?
It depends on the quality of the disc and the type of disc. If it is a really chewed up disc that nobody came to collect because they don't want to throw it again, then we send it to Trash Panda in Colorado for their disc recycling program, so it can be recycled and turned into future discs. Right. Some discs we pull aside for donations to like school programs or just people that can't afford discs or that sort of thing.
Okay.
So I have a whole bin. Usually I try to set aside the ones that are going to be easier to throw, good discs for like youth programs, PE programs, that kind of thing, to go in the donation bin. And then other discs we'll put on a discount shelf to be sold.
Awesome. Okay. That's really cool. I just think that's a really cool program.
Yeah, it's great. Because I like stats and information, I actually keep obviously a record. And since opening in February of 2024, we have returned about 2,200 discs.
Wow.
To their owners. And that includes shipping some. Like some people visit, lose them here, and ship them. So I think I've shipped about 20 discs back to people in different states. We've donated about 170, and we've sent 200 discs to recycling.
Wow, that's really wow. Okay, what does my listener need to know about Far From Par?
If you want to get into disc golf and you're in the Bellingham area, come see us. We'll get you set up. We'll give you the information that you need to get started, and then get you out on the course and just go have fun.
So I saw a basket with Far From Par on it at Rome.
Yes.
I chuckled. I stopped in there for coffee, and I chuckled when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Whose idea was it to put a basket there?
That was actually the owner of Wander, Chad. This will be our 4th year. It's coming up actually in August. We do a tournament called Wander the Woods.
Okay.
And we have partnered with Wander Brewing as the title sponsor of that. They have always put in some added cash for payouts and prizes for the tournament. And then every year we do an after party kind of get together at Wander Brewing.
Okay.
Last year we actually did a 2-day thing, and we did a trivia night, a disc golf trivia night at Wander Brewing between the 2 rounds. So Saturday night before Sunday's round. And so that was Chad's idea. He had that strip of grass there next to the parking lot that he wanted to utilize that space for some sort of recreation activity option.
Mm-hmm.
And so he approached us about getting a basket to put there, and we thought it was a great idea. And we helped him out with that. And by doing that, we agreed that we would put our little band on it because we're right down the street from them. And
Right.
It's great.
So really cool. Do you have any baskets anywhere else around town?
Not our baskets, but
Okay. When's your next tournament?
to play or host.
Oh, let's go both. Well, let's go host first. What's coming up?
So like I mentioned, we have Wander the Woods. That's our big flagship Far From Par tournament each year. That
Mhm.
is on August 16th.
Okay.
We play 2 rounds at Blaine Disc Golf Course. That is a PDJ sanctioned B tier event, so there's some added cash, some extra goodies there. Then I have a couple more tournaments that I'm playing currently on the schedule. Next Sunday, I'm playing an event at Kayak Point called Throwcella. That is a unique, specific layout that blends 3 of their 4 courses into one course of, I think it's 27 hole layout.
Okay.
So I have that. And then the following weekend, I'm going to a tournament down in North Bend. So I'm going to be playing that course for the first time for a 2-day tournament.
All right. When you're not golfing, what do you do? Well, let me back up a second. When you're not disc golfing, when you're not running a shop, when you're not doing your day job, when you're not walking your dog, what do you do? What do you like to do for fun? What do you find enjoyable in Bellingham?
I really love going to trivia nights. I'm a big trivia person. I love Jeopardy. So I go to trivia nights at least 2 nights a week,
Okay.
depending on scheduling, sometimes more, sometimes I'll get 3 or 4 in there. I like to cycle, mountain bike, road bike, gravel bike. I like most athletics. Last year I was on a softball team. I'm not on a team this year because it didn't quite fit the schedule and I couldn't commit to the full season, but I like to play softball. I like to go throw in the field, just throw discs and get some field work in.
Mm-hmm. All right. Putting you on the spot. Now I was just up in Bellingham and I'm going to see if your answer matches any of my experiences. Where should I go to get a great cup of coffee in Bellingham?
It depends on the type of coffee you want. If you want like a really unique seasonal latte or something a little bit fancier, my go-tos are Camber coffee or Hammerhead coffee.
All right. I went to both.
Okay.
And I had at Camber, I would have never ordered this, but it was a cherry cola cold brew.
Oh, yeah. Delicious.
Oh my God. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was
their seasonal stuff it's so good.
Yeah. I was like, wow, this is really, really like, it might be the best coffee drink I've ever had. And it's not when I would order all the time, but it was amazing. And what got me is I was at Canberra on Sunday morning and the line was out the door.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a table. I mean, I had to wait like 20 minutes from it. And what got me was the line was out the door the entire time.
I always order online.
Yeah, smart. And then at Hammerhead, I had their sparkling espresso, which was very interesting. and I enjoyed it at first, but I don't think I would I would have it again, but I would get a smaller size. I didn't need that much. Okay. Now let's just go maybe a little more boring though, not seasonal stuff. Where else? Because you guys have tons of coffee shops.
There's lots.
Any other?
I mean, I go to Rome.
Yeah, I had a really nice cortado there. I mean, it was
for a classic coffee, simple coffee shop, nice down to earth vibes. Rome would be a top choice.
Yeah, that was solid. Okay, where's a great place for lunch in Bellingham?
You know, my question is going to be what kind of food you're in the mood for.
I know, but it doesn't matter. Let me put you on the spot. We're recording this. It's a little before lunch on a weekday. If you didn't have to be at the shop today and you could go out to lunch, what are you in the mood for?
I've been in the mood for fried chicken recently, so I think I would probably go to Bantam. Which is right down on Railroad next to Mallard Ice Cream.
Okay.
But I don't think they're open for lunch these days. I think they only do lunch on the weekend on Saturdays. But so that wouldn't be a lunch option. If I had to pick a backup, I don't know. I also just ate, so it's hard to pick because I'm not hungry. I really like Juxt as a nice option that usually has some sports on.
Okay.
They have great cocktails on tap. And a nice, a varied lunch menu. So you kind of have options for depending on what you're in the mood for. So I think I would probably go with that.
And if you were having a cocktail with lunch, what would you go for?
Oh man, they have this, it's like a Earl Grey gin lemon kind of riff. That's usually my go-to there.
That's your go-to? All right. What's underrated in Bellingham, off the beaten path a little bit, that somebody should go check out?
I don't know. That's hard. Honestly, so much of Bellingham gets so much attention that there's not a ton that feels too off the beaten path.
Okay. What's this? Is it Container Park?
Yeah, Trackside.
What's going on there? I drove through there and it was packed and there was no parking available. So I got lazy and just said, I'm not going to stop. But it looked like there's a bike, like BMX bike track there. And what else is going on there? It looked like a lot of food trucks.
Yeah. Trackside is, Colshan Brewing put in a location there. So there's a huge beer garden that Colshan runs and has kind of grown up around that to incorporate more options. Okay. There's a wine bar. There's a container that has a Zeke's Pizza location. There's a container that has, I'm going to blank the name on it. The Riviera Club, something like that has some cocktails and small food options. There's a couple food trucks. There's a little, mini putt golf portal putt. There's the pump track for bikes. There's a kids like skill park, so like a smaller little bike park with some bridges and ramps and like little things, and then obviously the very large scale pump track with some big jumps. And then there's an ice cream place and a container that is a rotating option now that like small businesses can, I think, rent, like, I think by the month, it might be by the week. I'm not positive on that. That's kind of a new thing that I think started this year. And it's just kind of a good location for festivals and events now. Northwest Tune-Up Festival just happened a couple weekends ago, which is a huge mountain bike festival. So using the pump track, that whole area, there was a stage. It's definitely a destination for Bellingham now.
Yeah, that was very interesting to me when I drove there, and they had live music. There was a stage with live music going on, and it was very cool. I think that is a really interesting I like when we take areas that are kind of, gritty and industrial and underutilized and then convert them into use,
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed about
it's a recreation and event destination for Bellingham. It's a nice space to have access to.
The other thing I noticed while I was up there that seemed really prevalent to me, disproportionately prevalent, was a number of bike racks on vehicles with bikes. It seemed like everywhere was people in their vehicles, a wide range of vehicles, right? And they all had, bike racks with 4 mountain bikes on the back. I mean, that's just kind of, I was like, and there was lots of people out riding around too. I was like, wow, you guys really are into the bikes up here. That's very cool. All right. I got 2 last questions for you.
Okay.
This one's my cheat card. What didn't we talk about that we should have?
I don't think anything. I think we covered a lot.
Okay, cool. This is a very important question. Then we're going to wrap up with this very important question. And you agreed to play along. So here's the question. Cake or pie, and why?
Oof. Oh man, it's just what I'm in the mood for right now. I'm going to go with pie because something fruity sounds fruity and a little bit less dense than cake.
All right. There's no wrong answer there, by the way.
I mean, both options. It's all based on what you're in the mood for in that moment.
So in this moment, what would the pie be?
Blueberry.
Okay, solid. With ice cream, without?
Always with.
Okay. All right. You got to check. I mean, people, so interesting, people's food choices. And, it's just, some people have asked that question too, instant answer, fight me, tell me I'm wrong. You're just like, you can't, pie, you're not going to ever convince me that cake is edible. Like that, adamant, and then other people are like, I don't know, I can't decide. And, they're sweating and it's like, just pick one. There's no wrong answer. The only wrong answer for me, honestly, is pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is wrong. That's just not my thing.
Oh, I love a pumpkin pie.
Let's see. All right. Well, we're gonna end on that.
No, it's not one that I'm gonna go for in the summer.
Yeah, no. Daisy, thank you so much. I'm glad I tied this into my visit up there. I had a great time. Really cool. Bellingham is a really cool. I don't want to call it a city, but I also don't want to call it a town. It punches above its weight. You guys have so much going on there that you don't. For a community the size that you are, you have to me, you have so many more options than most communities that size.
Bellingham is great. It's as long as you are able to find work that is sustainable up here,
right?
Then it's great.
Yeah,
there's a little bit more population than I think a lot of the jobs can handle right now. Mm-hmm. Kind of post-COVID still, but if you can make that work, then Bellingham is an amazing place to be.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. Glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.